It is now 3 minutes after 6, and I will call to order the February 24th, 2014 meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. Are there any public concerns, non-agenda items?
Yes.
Hey.
You knew.
Well,
Bad idea.
I guess introduce whoever would like to speak to a concern. Introduce yourself and a concern.
My name is Susan Weber. I live at 25 Highland Avenue here in Easthampton, and I'm back again to talk about water and the issues that we're having with water. And when we were here last summer, last fall, last spring, and on, there were only 3 or 4 people in the neighborhood that were having major water issues. We now need to add 1. We have had an inch of water corner to corner to corner to corner in our basement that is coming in from the back of our yard towards our house. I know some people from the Conservation Commission came out and looked at Highland Avenue last year and saw the pool that is developing between the Wendelowski's house and our house, which is bigger by the month now. We're one of the couples that are asking, please don't bring any warm weather right now, because these warm days are killing us. The stream that is directly behind our property line, on the north side of our property line, has been moving.
Sorry, moving or flowing? Like the path, sorry, I just want to clarify.
Right.
The
The
path of
water
the
that we
stream?
can see,
Yeah.
the water that we can see is moving.
Okay, so it's not the
So
stream
it's
bed?
flowing.
Flowing.
It's flowing,
The
okay.
actual location of the
Sorry.
stream isn't moving.
No.
Sorry, that's what I wanted to
Okay.
understand. Thank
Just the
you.
terms.
No, that's
And I know that there's been some issues with water behind Easthampton Savings Bank. And if you look at the property, we're slightly downhill from that. And I'm not blaming them. I think, again, like I said last year, I think it's a culmination of all of the projects that have been going on in the area. And the land has not been able to keep up. The water is winning, it just happens to be hitting Highland Avenue. My question is, I guess, is can we turn to the state, we meaning either the city or us, to take another look at what we're calling a wetland in that area? The DEP map does show a large wetland area behind our house. But physically, you can go and see that that is enlarging.
It could very well be, and I can't speak to how they determine based on aerial photographs and other sources, if there are other sources, how they determine what is and is not a wetland. The state mapping is not the be-all and end-all. And if someone were to come to us with an application, and they were solely relying on the state mapping, we would either tell them they have to have it a professional or qualified individual delineate it, just go out and evaluate the boundary and mark it with flagging, and then show that to us on a plan, and/or we would go out and look at it ourselves, and then tell them that that's what they have to do, or that they don't, depending on the site circumstances. I'm a little concerned. What issues with water behind Easthampton Savings Bank are you talking
Well, I
about?
just know that people have been talking about the area behind the second parking lot, that the water is not going where they thought it was going to go. According to just a nobody that I talked to that worked at Easthampton Savings Bank, and that the bank was having issues.
They're currently in compliance with their permits.
Okay, I'm just saying that somebody said they were having issues, whether they're within their permit or not. It just may be not what they thought it was going to be. It's just that whole area back there, every single year, is wetter and wetter and wetter than it was the year before. There's been a lot of developing. I've lived there for 25 years. Every couple of years you can walk back there and just see that the water table is just rising there.
We're kind of in the same, I do feel for you, and I wouldn't want water in anyone's basement, that's for sure. But we're kind of limited in what we can do as a commission. I mean, I guess the next step might be to contact the state in Springfield, the Springfield offices, and ask them what they would do, or what they can do. Because unless there's an active project in front of us, or an active violation, that's really what our purview is. And if there have been no violations, as far as I know, the development that's occurred, good, bad, or otherwise, has been permitted properly. And over time, the regulations with regard to stormwater management, runoff, balancing out impervious surfaces, those have become more demanding, more stringent. Because the effects have been felt, and it's all reactionary. But everything that I've been a part of along that stretch of road has either been non-jurisdictional or has been in compliance with the regulations. So I'm not sure what to do to help resolve the problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's 38 homes there, and we're now being impacted by water.
Understood.
And we don't know where to go to next.
Sure. I guess it would be to either the city engineer, because if there's infrastructure, but he's already kind of spoken to that at previous meetings, or contacting the state wetlands program in Springfield, and I can give you the general number to call there.
Okay.
It's 784-1100. And the gentleman in charge of the wetlands program is Bob McCullum. But at this point, I don't know what else we can do.
Yeah, it's really not in our jurisdiction if there's no active project that's in violation or that's not meeting the conditions that have been set up by us. We really don't have any sort of jurisdiction to go out there. I mean, our charge is to oversee projects that are active in areas where it's in a buffer zone of a wetland, or deal with
violations.
With violations.
Again, within the regulations. So.
And then last summer when we visited this, we determined that there was not a violation.
Yeah, there is not, I mean, I can even, as a layperson, I can look at it and say, there is no violation. Mm-hmm. It's just that when you look at the property, and I'm sorry I'm taking up so much time, when you look at all of that, every single project that happens, and yes, they're permitted, and yes, they're within there, it's just, it adds a piece to the problem, and it's just making it a bigger problem.
I hear you, and that corridor has been developed since before there were any regulations in place.
Right.
And then once there were regulations in place, compliance with what they had to comply with, and those standards have gotten more stringent over time. But a property that was, and this has actually come up in other situations, but a property that was legally developed at the time it was developed can't be, until they make some sort of substantial change in their site layout, can't be held accountable to the current standards. It's like grandfathering. It is grandfathering.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is, which is, I know, not a very satisfying answer.
We just don't, I mean, as bad as it is for us right now with an inch of water, really, it's corner to corner to corner to corner in our cellar. We just don't want it any worse.
Sure. And again, aside from calling DEP in Springfield or discussing it with the city engineer, I don't know what would be appropriate, or what would be effective, I should say.
I'm Matthew Lever, I'm her husband. What would the city engineers, what could he possibly do to change the situation or change the building patterns such that the effect of would not exacerbate the situation?
I guess I'm suggesting the city engineer, because the current city engineer has been here for several years. He has a fair amount of institutional knowledge, plus he's an engineer who understands hydrology. And I would hope that those two things might help bring an enlightened viewpoint to the situation. But because beyond that, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know how to make the water stop going where it's going.
Or move past where it's
From a lay point of view, it almost seems like the water is being squeezed by the development into a certain amount of area, and there's only so much water that can flow in that area, and therefore it is going where it wants to go.
Right.
And I mean, I've even looked at the maps that are online in terms of the wetlands, and where they show the wet streams, they do show, and even the one that goes by where the sporting goods store used to be. And there's that little catch basin there, doesn't show up on those maps. There is an underground stream there, and that's not even noted on the map. Which to me indicates that they don't really see the full scope of the water that's going into that area.
Well, agreed. And the purpose of those maps is to provide a kind of a large-scale view of what might be there, but definitely not, just like assessor's maps say, not for property survey or for survey purposes. It's the same thing. It's not for site-specific applications. It's just getting an idea of what's likely to be present. But again, if anyone were to come forward with development, they would need to do a very site-specific evaluation. And again, obviously there are very wet areas there that would limit it with the current regulations. But aside from speaking to the city engineer or another engineer or talking to the state offices, I'm not sure. We're not really in a position to actively do anything, and I'm not qualified to advise on the hydrology of the matter.
Understood. We thank you.
So, are there any other concerns or non-agenda items?
Or anything else for the minutes anyone else would like to share?
I don't know if I just want to add, we're right next door to them.
Could you just...
Lori Wendelowski, 29 Highland. And we have a raised ranch, so therefore our cellar, if you will, is a little higher up. But it is totally fixed up. So if we had an inch of water, our entire ground floor with carpet and everything else would be ruined. So just...
I remember you talking about
yeah,
before.
and I immediately went downstairs last night and checked all the corners, and so far, but like Sue said, that pool in between our houses is coming closer and closer, and where your water came in is in the back, so it's coming from both areas. So I just wanted to...
Well, thank you. All right, unfortunately with that, unless anyone else has anything they'd like to add for the minutes, we're going to move on to our first agenda item.
Thank you.
And can everyone please sign in? I know a couple people walked in while they were speaking to it.
All right. First agenda item is a continuation of the public hearing for notice of intent filed by the appoints for 8 Old Stagecoach Road. We were only waiting on, Mass DEP file number 151277. We were waiting on comments from Natural Heritage under the Wetlands Protection Act. We received that on February 19th, 2014. It was assigned tracking number 14-3290. And
What's the date of the letter?
February 19th. And Natural Heritage found that the currently proposed project will not adversely affect the actual resource area habitat, state protected rare wildlife species, which means we have no hindrances to moving forward with the paperwork that we had discussed at previous meetings. So, with that, would someone like to make a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions? Surely someone would. Sure. Okay. It's not a determination.
Okay, so I just have to make a motion
Yes.
to approve.
Close the hearing and issue an order of conditions.
I would like to make a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions for the property at 8 Old Stagecoach Road.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. It's on page, I think it's 7 of 8 of the first
So the
document.
conditions are attached?
Yes.
The conditions we discussed at our last meeting?
Yes,
Or 2 meetings ago, I should say.
exactly. Which fall within our standard.
11 of 12.
I was wrong.
It's a good thing they type your name on
That's
it.
right. That's why we do it that way.
I can make photocopies.
I might want the rest of that,
That's
yeah. Okay, so this is, today is the 24th. And we're gonna send it by certified mail tomorrow.
How many copies?
2 copies, and then can I get an extra copy of this page?
3 copies of this page,
Yeah.
copies of everything else.
Yes, please. All right, let me.
Okay.
Wait for Justin to come back with the paperwork.
Someone's going to be here for the street now.
No, Jess is here,
Okay.
representative of the city. We do have one general business item that's not on the agenda, and that is that the treehouse people misplaced the original signed certificate of compliance, so administratively they have requested that we reissue an original for them to record.
Do we have one yet?
We only have a copy,
Oh, okay.
and they can't record a copy.
Okay.
So,
So to resign and submit? Fun.
Okay. Just an extra page. That's from the scan and the PDF. That's the original. Copy. Shoot, where did that go? Okay. That's for Jane. Stapler. After. Sorry, I didn't bring mine tonight. Thank you.
You know, we need a conservation commission agent.
I would settle for an administrative assistant. I would settle. Thank you.
With your large supply budget, you should probably buy you a stapler this fiscal year and keep it.
That'd be a great idea.
And I can make a label for it.
You could make a label for it because that's what you do.
It is what I do.
And you're so proud of it.
I love labels. Life just makes more sense. Okay.
Great.
Where's the PPs on the list? Alright, so next on the agenda. Request for amended order of conditions, City of Easthampton, Pleasant Street Mill Revitalization Project, DEP file number 151273. We actually already talked about
Yeah.
issuing this. We motioned to issue this, I just didn't have the paperwork ready. And
Okay.
that said, I have a clip on that. Oh, so it's we did receive the further revised plan sheets in PDF form from John Goddard at Arlebeck, so that the silt fence shows the way we need it to show to encompass the work. So administratively, we just need to sign.
Okay, so
And
even though I wasn't there when the motion was made, it's okay?
It's an administrative process. It's a ministerial act, so since the commission already,
I don't need to like by myself just say aye.
no. You can if you want, but
I'd like you.
as a ministerial act, it's okay. Okay. Jess, we're hand delivering this to you.
Yes, that'd be great.
One thing that I did do in attachment A under the summary. So there are two separate processes in the regs, amending and extending. Amending an order does not extend an order. So this order is still only valid for 3 years from the initial date of issuance. So that puts the date of expiration at February 11th, 2016. And if it needs to be extended, then the amended order needs to be extended at least 30 days before it's set to expire. Which might be the calendar reminder to set like 60 days in advance.
Yeah, December 1st, 2015.
She's all over.
Yeah.
That's
No
why they
doubt.
invented Google Calendars.
I know.
Pretty awesome.
So, 2 copies. Let's hope I don't forget. Well, it's gotta go. Old.
I know. Everybody
I'll put it in the minutes too, so when you read the minutes, it'll read.
Oh yeah, when you read the minute in 2015. Same thing with this page.
Yep.
Can you just get rid of it? Thank you. Okay. So I guess let's just do the the fresh paperwork for these folks. If everyone's okay with that. I'm looking for something specific, I'm not just talking to myself. Well,
You're talking to yourself.
I am talking to myself too, yeah. It happens all the time. Oh yeah, they brought it in.
What are you looking for?
A file copy. Now for this. Treehouse.
So this is for,
Treehouse.
oh, the treehouse one, okay. Trying to go there. Oh. Sorry.
Thank you.
My stapler might not be able to handle that, so I have the largest stapler in there. Shall I get
Are
that?
you calling the document back?
I am calling it back, 22 pages. It may work. You may be buying me a new stapler.
We'll have to wait till... Right, I need to buy your new stapler.
It's all right, I can go get the other one after, don't worry about it.
Ow. And a staple remover. Oh, here's what I was looking for. Right, let me get these papers out of the way. So this came back to me. We'll do this copying at the end. That sounded worse than it was. Okay, next item on the agenda, please. Request for certificates of compliance, Piscomic Conservation Trust, Pomeroy Meadows Conservation Area, Off Ranch Ave, Mass DEP file number 151275. We received an email with a request for certificate of compliance attached. Based on everything I've seen out there, the work was completed as it was proposed, and the sites are all stable.
Looks good.
Does anyone have any questions for the discussion? Right, would someone like to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance?
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for the Pomeroy Conservation Area off Ranch Avenue.
I'll second the
All
motion.
those in favor? So moved.
Getting a lot of practice writing my name tonight.
It's fun, isn't it?
We just want to get this
It's like
all
buying
out
a
of the way
house.
before meeting number 2 arrives. This is not the one.
Invite Pomeroy Conservation.
Okay. Thank you. That's... Let me hide this one. Okay, and just note for the minutes, that as noted in the order, conditions 57 through 62 are ongoing In perpetuity.
Conditions, okay. In perpetuity, wow.
Can I just make 3 copies and I'll just scan the whole thing when I get to the, yeah. Is that
Okay.
easier?
Yeah, goes on to the signature page on this?
Well, yeah, if you make 3 copies, I'll just scan.
Oh, it's already
copies.
signed.
Yeah.
When did you sign this one? Last meeting?
We just did it when you were in the
Oh.
room with the copying machine. Okay. Wait for Jess to come back so I can catch up.
Edit here.
Edit everything out for me.
Yes.
And I don't know if you were here when we made the announcement, but the meeting is being recorded. Welcome.
My throat is almost gone, so I won't be able to be recorded very much.
Fair enough.
So it's just called the Pomeroy Conservation Area, is that correct? Is that the official
Palmer
name?
Meadows Conservation.
Pomeroy Meadows.
Conservation. Yeah. I got that off PCT's website.
Okay.
Okay, here you go.
Zippy House was the one that got lost in the mail?
Yep. No, it didn't get lost in the mail, it got lost in their office.
Okay, well,
There's a
either or.
It was lost.
It was misplaced. What's the copy Where's the original street house? Oh, the one with the paperclip on it?
With the paper clip.
All right, so, still very herky-jerky. All right.
Oh, we're gonna have to show it. Shall I move forward while you're doing this? Let's fish ladder?
Yeah, why don't we move on to updates and I'll keep doing paperwork.
So there are no enforcement orders, we'll go on to compliance updates, the City of Easthampton fish ladder. Anyone have an update for that?
Nothing's happening right now.
Okay, Paul Street Extension, Jillian Estates.
I haven't been there.
Okay.
Any updates on the planning board end?
No,
The
there's
last
just
meeting.
been two of the lots were released through their covenant. So I presume that the building permit will be coming your way, Melissa, at some
Yeah.
point if it hasn't already. So just gently remind them.
Do you know if there was anything in our mail today? Because there was nothing on the table.
There's a couple of small ones,
Okay.
but nothing major. I can grab those after the meeting, sorry about that.
No.
Okay, Pleasant Street Mills, we just discussed that, so,
We skipped Easthampton Savings Bank.
sorry? Oh, I see it, I skipped you, thank you. Easthampton Savings Bank parking lot update, anybody?
Nothing happening.
Nothing, here it was. Pleasant Street Mills update. So we just talked about that, it's the item 3B of the agenda. Pomeroy Meadow Trails, Paul Street, we just talked about that.
Can you take that off now?
We're gonna take that
Future
off out of the
agendas?
next, yeah, that'll come off the next agenda. And last was the Loudville, Glendale, West Pomeroy, and you
The rep C activity in the site stable.
Jim Gracia has emailed the commission about possibly needing to request an amended order of conditions relative to work around the Tennessee gas pipeline.
Okay.
So I reminded him of the amended orders policy about notifying abutters and public notice, and so he didn't sound too optimistic that he was going to get that, to us in time for the next meeting, but he will likely get that to us in time for the second March meeting, March 24th.
It's the Tennessee gas pipeline, did you say?
I believe that's.
It's just
what it is.
coordination with it, is that right? Or does it mean?
I don't, I mean, in order for them to amend the order of conditions, there would have to be some design modifications
Okay.
relative to work in those areas, so.
Okay.
Not hitting the pipeline.
And that too.
Seems like a good plan.
I mean, that's always a good idea, so. Okay, do we have any more budget discussion?
No, you can take that off. I
Okay.
submitted your budget
Oh, thank you.
last week, as we previously discussed.
Budget was submitted.
We'll see what comes out.
Okay. Shared conservation agent, hello, come on up.
I don't want to get too close because my
idea.
firm is going away, but
You're perfect.
That's
stay
fine.
over here. My name is Jamie Bartak. I'm with the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, and we are working with the city of Easthampton and Southampton on a shared conservation agent study through district local technical assistance funds. And so I'm here tonight to introduce myself. I'm also new to the PVPC. I just started a few months ago, so I thought it'd be helpful to come and introduce myself and also kind of learn a little bit about how you all operate. And we'll be doing the same in Southampton. Jess, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to say about this.
We're going to have a more detailed discussion on Wednesday, right?
Wednesday morning,
Wednesday
yeah.
morning. So we'll be talking about just how the commission functions, needs for an agent, but if there's anything you feel like you want to say right now without
Has
taking
this not
too much
adequately
time.
demonstrated the need for an agent?
Right.
And staplers.
That part we can do far more easily.
This is a typical meeting.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You haven't said anything inappropriate.
I haven't, because that
It's not over
I know.
There's
We
still
still have
time. Can you actually drink that right now?
I swear it's not a,
It's not bourbon.
yeah, it's not, yeah.
Shame.
So yeah, we're going to have a much more detailed conversation, but I think if there's anything you feel like you want to say now while you have her ear for just a few minutes, feel free to say something, because she did drive all this way.
Yes, thank you for that.
It's on the way.
Well, that's good too. I feel like administratively that would be extremely beneficial. We do have 2 PEs, and I'm a wetland scientist.
Okay.
So we have a lot of aspects of technical review covered. We also have 2 very involved, non-scientific, but very qualified lay people on the commission who are just, oh, what's your schedule going to be?
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna wait till I
Have
meet
to,
this
they said.
person.
It'll be fun, they said. But where we really, I think, currently and historically, just totally fall short is land conservation and land management.
That's a good point.
The commission, as long as I've been on it, and prior to that, I don't believe has ever really had an active role in terms of stewardship. And that's a problem. That's not good enough, but it's also where time and resources don't always allow. So,
Is also a charge of a commission agent to travel around the city and look for violations, or no?
I don't know if it's,
I would say if somebody was in the office, they would be able to deal with the walk-in traffic for questions on the permit, which I do a lot of, you know, like, what's my process? What do I have to file? What does this mean? Somebody who knows the laws really well, because I only quasi-pretend to know.
Yeah.
I get there, but I ask Melissa, I end up calling Melissa a lot
Yep.
when somebody does, you know, walks in, so that would save a lot of time. I think if somebody could be there to answer the walk-in questions, and then if there was ever an enforcement issue, there would be somebody
It'd be
there to be
so
able
much
to run
easier.
out to do it, rather than figure out who can go, what,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
you know, can somebody hit it on the way home? Well, by that point, the violation would be
Violation will be
over.
done, right.
So if I'm not here and I can't run out, you know, it'd be nice to have a staff person be able to run out and do that.
So the idea of a shared agent then, you would have a couple of days here, a couple of days there or something, or a day at each place or something
They're
like that.
figuring that
And then the
out.
office
Yeah.
hours.
That's part of what the study will
We're trying to figure out like what the different towns, what are their, maybe they're doing all land stewardship and no wetland stuff, for instance, so we'd have to see like kind of how the work balance works out. And then, yeah, the idea would be just somehow figure out if this could be coordinated, first of all, like maybe you have very different needs and not a lot of overlap, we don't know yet, so, but that would be the idea. And I know that South Hadley and Hadley, I don't think they're shared necessarily, but they have like a part-time conservation agent in both the towns, but she works in
And
both
it's the
places.
same person.
And it's the same
It's
person,
Janice.
right? And so she kind of knows, it's good too for helping inter-municipal coordination as well.
And that would be my next point in terms of the stewardship. I mean, we do share a boundary with Southampton. We do have conservation lands. That Pomeroy Meadows is a perfect example. There, Southampton's looking on the other side to continue the conservation on their side. So somebody who can look intermunicipal boundaries with Northampton, with Holyoke, I think would be not just maintaining our lands, but looking for ways that we can create bigger connections and bigger greenway connections in a more regional sense. There comes my PVPC
Land-
graduate student thesis right
I was so
there.
into that. I was just like, yeah, I could
My
just listen to
greenways
it.
part.
I know.
Volunteer.
It's all I did for 2 years. So, but,
Southampton's coming along on the greenways.
oh, absolutely. And they're
And
definitely,
Westfield is getting started on something too.
Yeah, I saw that.
but greenways are more than just trails.
But
Don't make me go there. It's been 2.5 years doing it. But anyway, so I think that's another, and then somebody did with all the paperwork. I mean, if Melissa didn't have to draft up all of this orders, but do you want to let go of the control of that? That's something I don't know.
What do you
No,
suggest?
seriously.
Well, I feel like there are some administrative aspects where it's just, I don't know. A lot of what we do, this was more paperwork than we usually have in one meeting. But it would be nice if we
For
had
instance,
someone
what I
else
do with the
help
planning-
out with it.
What I do with the planning board is I draft the permits and then I send them to the chair for review and comment and feedback. And if they say A-okay, then then it's all done. So it's somebody's doing the legwork, but then you still get the final review,
Yeah.
which might work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, make your job and life easier.
Yeah, it would allow me to focus on other aspects.
And so we'll be looking at what the cost will be too. Of course, the state is really promoting interregional cooperation, so we can look at different arrangements and what the different costs might be as well, so that you can hopefully choose from a range of options. Just wanted to put that in there too.
Anything else?
If I can think of.
So we're starting off by doing some just initial research, just to kind of get an idea of what's going on, what's on the ground, and then from there, we'll kind of develop a framework for a position, like what's based on like what we learn is needed. And there'll be a kickoff meeting later on, like once we have that kind of base information, so that we can all talk together as two towns. And then ideally, we can implement it through an intermunicipal agreement if it ends up that's what we'd like to do, because we really like to promote implementation through DLTA projects as well.
So we just have to be careful on joint meetings and making sure we don't reach a quorum or we just have to publicize it as a public meeting. Just note of that, that we can't just have both commissions come together, because that would be a violation. So.
It'd be a violation for two towns to meet.
No, I mean, they could, as long as if they had a public notice.
Commissions.
Yeah, as long as you had a public notice for it, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But if you just, 5 of you decided to get together and
Yeah.
talk business
Sure.
without publicizing it, it'd be bad. It would be a bad idea.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope you feel better.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Okay, draft open space and recreation plan update, ADA self-evaluation of properties. Do you want to?
I'm gonna stay.
There is an update. Dan.
Dan Butcher, the missing member, is planning on trying to go out to the Borachowski. See, we don't even know how to pronounce these things. Property on Sunday. Weather and
family permitting.
It's March
I
2nd.
can't go. I have to throw a birthday party for an 8-year-old.
Throw
Harry
or go
Potter,
to?
come on down.
Do you have wands?
Yes, we do.
Did you make them?
I did not make them. It's another discussion for another time, not now.
Is there gonna be an owl?
There's so many Harry Potter jokes I could tell right now.
And in comes the intro.
We're skirting right on the edge there.
Anyway,
Hey, so.
but that's great that he's doing that.
Yeah. At this point, kind of need to wait for snow melt
Yeah.
too, because
It's too much with the
there's too much snow covering the ground.
So let me just note though that and it will be a while, but this plan is tied to the boardwalk project, and so I cannot file for reimbursements for the boardwalk, or final reimbursement, I think, for the boardwalk project unless everything is complete and submitted to the state. So it's tied,
So probably late March, early April,
okay, so I'd say
depending
by,
Yeah,
on.
what is your deadline?
well, I mean, it's all gonna sort of depend on the timeline for the boardwalk project
all right.
and how construction proceeds.
Okay, all right.
My hope is that, final design will be completed by June 30th. So, and construction cannot begin until after July 1st based on the grant requirements. So if we could have this all wrapped up by June 30th would be my
I don't
deadline.
foresee that being an issue at all.
But that would also mean allowing me to have some time to actually pull it
Process it,
together
right,
and pull it
yes,
together
okay.
and draft it and,
Submit
So if
it.
we had all our stuff
Format
done
it.
by our June 9th meeting,
okay.
Is that enough time?
Yeah, I'll fix it.
Do you need earlier?
Nah, I mean, if you could do May, it would be great.
Yeah.
May
But
19th?
Maybe 19th.
you know what, I'll probably wait till last.
But then it will be your fault, not ours.
That's right.
So, I will do that. So,
We're gonna say that all evaluations must be complete by May 19th.
Did you look at the ones I gave you?
I haven't yet, but
Just want to make sure they look okay. that's
they're
all.
beautiful.
They're beautiful, that's great.
Fabulous job.
But-
You knew that at the meeting.
I know, but I want to know if the information contained is what
I
we
think it
expect
was,
to see.
I looked at it when I was here, I didn't see any red flags
Because
at all.
most of those places are going to be kind of like that,
or worse.
So give us your homework.
That's what I was going to do. So they all can.
We'll just change the
But I
color.
think if you have some ideas of how some of these properties could be more ADA compliant, even if it's creating a handicap accessible space, a parking space, or a small picnic area, or something, it doesn't have to be. And again, we have to sort of make sure it fits with whatever the restriction says, and
And actually, that's something, do you have the language of the restrictions for the various?
I have everything. PVPC gave me
So-
everything when they worked on the open space.
Is that something?
Electronically or?
Well, everything's in the registry of deeds as
Okay.
well.
So
I
could you
can-
send book and page references?
I can try to remember to do that.
See, now I'm putting it back on you.
I know.
Well, no, I'm just thinking it would be helpful to know that.
Actually, if you go into the open space plan, there is book and page references for all of the
Is
properties
there a link
in
to the
chart.
open space plan on the website?
There is.
Okay. Then I-
On the commission's on the city's website.
Yeah, we put it up.
Yeah.
So, yes, there is a chart in there of all of our properties.
Okay, and that's
there's-
that's
the last
the
column,
deed
I
reference?
believe, is book and page, although Jamie actually helped.
I looked them up, so
She
yes.
looked them up.
Okay. As long as they're there, I can
Yeah.
find them.
Okay.
Although I don't like Hampshire County because it's harder to get a copy.
It's kind of a pain in the neck.
Camden's much easier.
Yeah, right. Sorry, I can't help you there.
We're in the wrong county. Okay.
So that's the thing I think that's in the,
Yes, but there's a column, this is APRs, but there is a column farther on
The four
down.
that we're
Yeah.
splitting, essentially, are like, so when we parse them out, like,
It's up there.
2 per commission member, and a lot of them are like these slivers of land behind subdivisions or between parcels in a subdivision that
limited access to
have
anybody.
limited
Behind handicap
open
access.
space, limited wetlands or wildlife value for sure.
Right. And not contiguous with anything, so there are these islands of.
They're just these awkward little pieces of land that will be encroached upon over time.
So I did want to ask while you're here though, do you know what the printing status is of the open space plans? Because they were supposed to go out to print it with minus the ADA section. Do you
I don't
if
know
they came back in?
specifically, but I've been hearing talk about it, so
Okay.
let me follow up with Patty tomorrow.
Okay, that would be good. Thanks.
I didn't print any information on the upcoming conferences or the vernal pool
The
workshop.
March 22nd date doesn't work for me.
Okay. That's the land conservation.
Right.
And Jerry's out. I don't know why.
Jessica, you had expressed interest in attending that Mass Land Conservation Conference. Do you want to still go to that?
I don't know. I'm gonna be at a conference in Worcester this following Saturday, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna.
Are you going to go to the annual, the MACC one?
No, not MACC, it's the CPTC conference.
You could make a week of it in Worcester.
I could make a week of it. It'd be sweet.
Oh.
I always get lost there every time.
Are there
Really?
weeks worth of good restaurants in Worcester?
There's an amazing
9/11
bunch of
111
restaurants.
Shop.
Yeah.
It's right along that same road.
Yeah.
There's like 8, 10
what's
really
the
good
other
restaurants.
one?
There's
Oh,
amazing
that's the
Mexican.
Shrewsbury Street.
I know, it's incredible. There's so many. It's an amazing Shrewsbury Street. Thanks
So,
for focusing.
moving on, the vernal pool workshop, is that a maybe? Is anybody else a maybe for the Friday, May 16th
I don't
vernal pool
even-
workshop?
That's a long time
That's a
from now.
long way away.
So, okay. So let's move on to meeting minutes approval, February 10th, 2014. Who was
I'll make
our-
a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from February 10th.
I must abstain.
Oh, I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. So, with that, are there any other items to bring up that general business, blah, blah, blah? Okay, with that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
6:54. With 6